David Seaman was the first choice at Euro '96, but how good was it to just be a part of that squad and be a part of everything that was going on during that tournament on home turf?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, just to get into the squad was fantastic, and obviously being on English soil made it even more special. I mean, obviously the build-up was what it was. It was well documented. We went to China and Hong Kong. And then came back and set up camp in the hotel, in preparation. I don't think anyone could have dreamt, what was going to unfold in the next weeks or so.
The atmosphere across the country was amazing, and did that filter through to the team and the squad?
I think a little bit. We were staying in a hotel outside London, just off the M40, and obviously on the news or whatever, they flash across to pubs and clubs in and around Britain, and it became apparent that once we got the group stages out of the way, or the Swiss game where we drew, and then England were outstanding then against Scotland, and especially against Holland, where one of the best performances I've seen an England team play. Then it began to become apparent that everyone was, the bandwagon was rolling and everyone was behind us.
And what are your standout memories from the tournament?
I think the Holland game, without a shadow of a doubt, because I just sat there watching, and it was just an incredible performance against an outstanding Dutch side, and England ripped them to bits basically. And then a very, very tough game against Spain, I think it was, wasn't it? And obviously a very tactical battle. Terry Venables had come from Barcelona, so he knew a lot of the Spanish players, or all of them really, understood the way they played, and it was almost like a chess match, very, very tight, and obviously went to, I think, penalty kicks, and Dave made a couple of great saves, and then obviously, Germany in the semi-finals, and I just remember if Gaz's studs had been half a centimetre longer, then we'd have probably got to the final, but it wasn't to be. But it was an outstanding tournament, and I think a lot of English people fell back in love with the national team again.
And what was the atmosphere like in the dressing room after that Germany game?
Well, it was a long time ago, but pretty disappointed. I mean, played so well on the night. A very, very, again, outstanding German team, of course, and we played some great football, and then was so close to winning it. Got off to a great start when Al scored, I think, off a corner, I can't remember, and Germany equalised, and then it ebbed to and fro then really for the rest of the game. But a really good watch, good game of football, and a real disappointment. I mean, even the next morning when we woke up, it was hard to believe we were actually out of the tournament at that late stage. But it just seemed as it went along that we were almost destined, after all that had kicked off beforehand, we were destined to get to the final, but it wasn't to be, as I say.
There's a lot of what ifs, but I think we would have fancied our chances at Wembley in the final against the Czech Republic.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, you obviously a fine side to get to the final themselves, but you'd imagine with the wave of the emotion and the support. I mean, I remember coming out, because I used to come out probably the first to warm up with the other goalkeepers and the subs before the 11 came out, and the atmosphere was incredible. I mean, the stadium was nigh on full, before the lads were even warming up. The atmosphere was electric. So I think if we was to have got to the final, I think they'd have pushed us over the line, But
found a couple of pictures of you modelling the goalie kits from that tournament.
Said to you, pick the lookers, obviously. It's I mean, it's a minging kit, and let's be honest, it's absolutely shocking. No, I mean, the outfield one's traditional English, of course, traditional England, white and navy blue, but the goalkeeping one's not the best, I've got to say.
Got stitched up a little bit.
I think, obviously the spotlight, I mean, look at that one, that's even worse, isn't it?
And were you involved in any dentist chair antics in?
No, I didn't. Do you know, we walked in, what happened was, after the game, we played a Hong Kong Select 11 in their national stadium in Hong Kong, where the Rugby Sevens is played. Anyway, we ended up winning 1-0 against there's a few journeymen knocking around, and there's some England fans out there who weren't best pleased with our performance. And I didn't play in the game. I played against China, as it happens, in the game before in Beijing, and Dave played. And I remember we were out doing a little bit with Mike Kelly, the goalkeeping coach, who obviously Fulham fans know well. And the England fans were still in the ground, and they were giving us pelters, they were slaughtering us. And even Mike, he got a bit aggressive, and had a pop back, and they'd organised this beautiful Chinese meal for us on a barge, like this great big barge thing, and the food was fantastic. It was one of those that's like a 12 course. So Terry had said to the lads, listen, you can go out, let your hair down a little bit, have some downtime. We fly at such and such a time, want you in for breakfast, etc., usual stuff. Anyway, so we stayed and finished the meal. But the lads had ate about 2 courses and went, a lot of them. But I thought, no, we'll have the food, you know. Anyway, we got to the looking around to try and find the lads. Walked into the pub, and one of the lads has come across, ripped the t-shirt straight open. I was with Alan Shearer at the time, and I said, Christ, I said, it could get a bit lively this, like. Anyway, we hung around. It was in the place where the dentist chair was, but I never ever saw it. It was tucked round the back. So we sort of had one drink, said, come on, we'll do one. Like, by this time it was midnight-ish, so we actually went, but yeah, so we missed it. But when obviously we get home and it kicked off, and there was a bits and bobs on the plane on the way back, and of course there was a big downer on us. You know, it was. I remember the headlines. You know, we were a disgrace and this, that, and the other. And then the Swiss game, which after all the hullabaloo and the build-up, was a bit of a damp squib, and we ended up. They had a penalty late on, and it was a draw, so it weren't the best start, and everyone was all over us. And I think then beating Scotland just galvanised the supporters back with us and the country back with us, and then the Holland thing, where we really did play so well, I think got everybody back on side. And as usual, I mean, everything gets blown up a little bit, you know what I mean? But it's you have to take that when you sort of at that level. You know, people are going to go through you with a fine-tooth comb. So, but you know, we went out there. It was great. Saw the Great Wall of China, Tiananmen Square. You know, we went and saw as much as we could. So that was fantastic. For me personally, I managed to get a cap against China, which was in front of, I don't know where it was, in the Workers' Stadium, which was brilliant. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a great trip. And we came back, had a couple of days off, and then into the real prep of it to Bisham Abbey. So yeah, they were great days, best years of my career. And I was, you know, mid-90s, Blackburn had won the league, and getting involved with the national team was wonderful.
And just looking ahead to this summer, how do you rate England's chances?
I think they'll do all right. I really do. I think there's a really good young crop of players coming through at the same time. You know, obviously, in my opinion, an absolutely outstanding coach in Roy, again, who did such an incredible job here as well. You know, he's got a tremendous amount of experience, not just in European football but in world football. But he knows the game inside out. Will be well prepared, well drilled. And funny enough, I was in the treatment room the other day with Lassie was down there. They were talking about and Martin Mardon. They were talking about the Europeans. And I said, listen, I've got a little sneaky for England. I think we'll do all right. I said, I'm not saying we're going to win it, but I think we'll do well. And they started laughing. I said, all right, and we'll see. You know, you're smart, Alex. We'll see. I said, but I think Roy knows what he's doing, and I just think he'll get something out of us, and I think we'll surprise one or two on the way.